Earth has a leaky core, resulting in iron-rich lava eruptions, researchers find. And this is apropos because we have the Krakatoa erupting right now, the Anak Krakatoa, Sumatra, Indonesia, that was made infamous by its 1883 eruption. And we also have Iceland, the volcano Reykjanes, which is right near Reykjavik, the capital of Iceland. Iceland is located on the mid-Atlantic ridge on the trench there, and it's right on the northern part of it. It has a mantle plume underneath it. That mantle plume was one of the many mantle plumes that Earth has from the large, heavy bombardment in our solar system that took place when the theories of astronomers say there was a planet 5 that somehow perturbed out of its orbit and caused a havoc ricocheting like a billiard ball across other celestial bodies in our solar system and causing celestial bodies to bombard our Earth, our Moon, Mars, and creating mantle plumes, in other words, somehow cracking the surface of the Earth and causing the core to come out as mantle plumes. And we'll talk about this because there are various such things. Igneous provinces in Siberia, northern Russia. We have them under Yellowstone. We have a mantle plume around the southern part of Hudson Bay. We have another mantle plume in Scandinavia. Another one in, as we said, Iceland. Another one in South Africa. Now, so it looks like, of course, the core is coming towards upper areas, leaking. Now, amid the anxiety over what's happening this year, we have not started a very good year, 2020. Now we're talking about the geology, though. The Earth's molten core may be leaking iron, according to scientists from the University of California, Davis. Their study concludes that a huge drop in temperature from our planet's liquid iron core to the outer rocky mantle pulls heavier iron isotopes towards Earth's surface, while the lighter iron isotopes remain within Earth's core. The discovery could serve as a breakthrough in how we understand the onion-like layers of our soil, and particularly the core-mantle interaction. Researchers find could also potentially explain why there are more heavy iron isotopes in the mantle rocks as opposed to other material that make up Earth's layers, revealing that the core has been oozing heavy material for quite some time. The lead author is Charles Lesher, and he says the results suggest iron from the core has been leaking into the mantle for billions of years. I forgot to say the large heavy bombardment was about 4.6 billion years. Now, the study says for those not particularly interested in what's happening 1,800 miles below the Earth's surface, that's about 2,900 kilometers below the surface of the Earth, the study has another intriguing revelation. The leaky core is likely responsible for the high levels of iron deposits found in volcanic eruptions off the coast of Samoa and Hawaii. Hawaii is another mantle plume that we know. It's another area there. Now, going back to our mantle plumes. A mantle plume is proposed mechanism of convection. Convection is the heat transfer due to the bulk movement of molecules within fluids such as gases and liquids. So it's convection of abnormally hot rock within the Earth's mantle. And the mantle is the layer inside a planetary body bound below the core and above by the crust. Now, because the plume head partly melts on reaching shallow depths, a plume is often invoked as the cause of volcanic hotspots such as Hawaii or Iceland. In geology, the places known as hotspots are volcanic regions thought to be fed by underlying mantle that is anomalously hot compared with the surrounding mantle. Examples are Hawaii, Iceland, and Yellowstone. Okay, so and also large igneous provinces. We have them on the west coast, We have them in Iceland, we have them in Greenland, we have them in Brazil, we have them in East Africa, South Africa, also around Egypt, Ethiopia. We have them in the area of Siberia, northern Russia, and around areas of Australia. So those are the large igneous provinces, such as the Deccan and traps of India and the Siberian traps of Russia. Some such volcanic regions lie far from tectonic plate boundaries, while others represent unusually large volume volcanism near plate boundaries. The hypothesis of the mantle plumes from depths is not universally accepted as explaining all such volcanism. It has required progressive hypothesis elaboration leading to variant propositions such as mini plumes and pulsing plumes. Another hypothesis for unusual volcanic region is the plate model. This proposes shallower passive leakage of the magma. Magma is the molten or semi-molten natural material from which all igneous rocks are formed. Magma is found beneath the surface of the Earth, and evidence of magmatism has also been discovered in other terrestrial planets, such as in some natural satellites. So, the shallow passive leakage of magma from the mantle onto the Earth's surface, where extension of the lithosphere permits it, attributing most volcanism to plate tectonic processes, with volcanoes far from plate boundaries resulting from interplate extension. That is the rift valleys. We have them in the Great Rift Valley of Africa. We also have the New Madrid seismic zone, the Real Foot Rift Zone, and we also have the Mid-Continental Rift in the United States, for example. Now, the lower mantle and the core, I'm reading from Wikipedia. There's a lot of information in this, but we're not going to read everything here. We're talking about the lower mantle and the core. The most prominent thermal contrast known to exist in the deep mantle, about 1,000 kilometers down, is the core mantle boundary at 2,900 kilometers. Mantle plumes were originally postulated to rise from this layer because the hotspots there that are assumed to be their surface expression were thought to be fixed relative to one another. This requires that plumes were sourced from beneath the shallow asthenosphere that's thought to be flowing rapidly in response to motion of the overlying tectonic plates. There is no other known major thermal boundary layer in the deep earth, so the core mantle boundary was the only candidate. The base of the mantle is known as the D layer, the seismological subdivision of the earth. It appears to be compositionally distinct from the overlying mantle and may contain partial melt. Two very broad, large, low shear velocity provinces exit in the lower mantle under Africa and under the Central Pacific. We know that that's Hawaii. It's postulated that plumes rise from their surface or their edges. Their low seismic velocities were thought to suggest that they are relatively hot, although it has recently been shown that their low wave velocities are due to high density caused by chemical heterogeneity. Suggested mantle plume locations. To be underlying mantle plumes, scientists cannot agree on a definitive list. Some scientists suggest that several tens of plumes exist, whereas others suggest there are none. The theory was really inspired by the Hawaiian volcano system. Hawaii is a large volcanic edifice in the center of the Pacific Ocean, far from any plate boundaries. Its regular time-progressive chain of islands and seamounts superficially fits the plume theory well, but it's almost unique on Earth and has nothing as extreme existing anywhere else. The second strongest candidate for a plume location is often quoted to be Iceland. That's what's filling up with magma now, the Marianas volcano. But according to opponents of the plume hypothesis, its massive nature can be explained by plate tectonic forces along the mid-Atlantic spreading center. Mantle plumes have been suggested as the source of flood basalts. The flood basalts, the result of a gigantic volcanic eruption, or series of eruptions that covers large stretches of land or the ocean floor with basalt lava. Flood basalt provinces such as the Deccan traps of India are often called traps, for the Swedish word trappa due to the characteristic stair-shaped geomorphology. And we also have the Siberian traps in northern Russia. And the Karoo Ferrat flood basalts in Gondwana in Africa, and the largest known continental basalts, the Central Atlantic Magmatic Province, CAMP for short. Many continental flood basalt events coincide with continental rifting. It's consistent with a system that tends towards equilibrium. As matter rises in the mantle plume, other material is drawn down into the mantle, causing the rifting. This is on RT and also from Wikipedia. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.